Okay, so my main work truck is down. It's had the same problem now twice in 2 weeks. I think the shop is fixing like the scab, but they're not fixing the cut. So today, while my truck is in the shop, I'm gonna try and get this spare truck here running. I'm pretty good at working on everything before like 2007, once they went like full def, full automation. My backyard mechanicking skills, they kind of were outdated. So this truck here, I don't know, I think it's a 2003. I can work on that. I can get that running. But the 2018 that I drive, I'm not going to mess with that. So anyhow, I'm going to see if we can get this truck here running. I had it running about a year ago. I had it running about 8 months ago, and I think before that it's been a couple years. So let's look it over real quick and see what it needs. So I know the batteries are shot. I actually tried starting this about a week ago. My truck was down and in the shop. I know the batteries are dead, so I got some new batteries. If you look here, the mice have just had a field day in here. So probably have to wipe this thing down, clean it up real good. I'm sure the hoist is gonna need grease. It looks like most of the tires are holding air. I know from 8 months ago when I had this truck in the shop, it needs a wheel seal. I know it looks like this tire here, flat. Hopefully I can get it out of this hole here. I hate it when I see this. I see a truck with a pusher axle and there's no pusher on it, tire. To me, it just looks unfinished, unkempt. So I'm gonna see if I can find some scabs to throw on here, just for looks. But anyhow, yeah, I'm gonna throw these batteries in here and we'll see if we can get it running. Okay, so if you've had a truck sitting for a while, you might have fuel issues. These trucks have a check valve so the fuel doesn't drain back to the tank. When those check valves go out, they don't necessarily go all out at once. Like, it's not like they work one day 100% and the next day they work 0%. I'm not sure what's in there, a spring and a ball of some sort, but over time they do get weaker and weaker, and you'll have a truck that can sit for a month and it'll start. You'll have a truck that can sit for a week and it'll start. You'll have a truck that'll sit for 2 days and it'll start. But if you go longer than that, the check valve's worn out to the point where it'll let all the fuel bleed back into the tank. It can suck the filters empty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the filters off. I'm gonna put some of this total power in there. I know you're thinking this is concentrated, you can't do that, Mike. What are you doing? You're a fool. Look, this is a diesel engine. It can run on vegetable oil, it can run on motor oil, it can run on automatic transmission fluid. Any fuel that burns, you can put it in that engine, and if you have the compression and the turnover, it'll fire. Now, I don't know about the long-term effects. I don't know if it's going to shorten the life of the rings and the pistons. I don't know. When I used to run my Detroit out away from the house all the time, I carried a fuel filter and 2 bottles of ATF. So right there at the truck stop, I could pull the filter housing, put a new filter in it, dump a bottle and a half of ATF in there, and start it up. Obviously, I'd run it until the pink was gone, because ATF is pink. I'd run it till that was gone in case I got pulled over. But I would rather have a sealed bottle of ATF in my sleeper than some random jug of diesel. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull the filters off, fill it with this, and give her a crank. If it doesn't crank right away, I'll start up my utility van here, also known as a minivan or a manly van. You pick the term. And then I'll put that on there just to keep those new batteries up. I think it's gonna fire. It's got, I think, a C13 cat, and the C-12 was a much better engine. The C13 is when they started putting that, the emission, really bogging them down with emissions. So put you in time lapse, pull the filters, fill them, and we'll see if she'll fire. All right, so I got this filter taken off and filled. I got this filter taken off and filled. I know what you're thinking, Mike. Why didn't you put new fuel filters on it? The truth is I'm going to. This truck isn't to the point yet where I feel like it deserves new fuel filters. We're gonna see if it cracks off, maybe run it a bit, and probably roll with some new filters in the truck in case it dies. But you can get a lot of bugs in a fuel tank sometimes. I've seen it. I don't know if the caps get left off, if the moths can crawl up in the vent somewhere, but if a truck's been sitting for a while, 4 or 5 years, you start running it, usually within a couple weeks, you'll pull your first filter, be full of bugs, dead bugs. So the idea is to get it running, see if it'll run good. And I know these filters are good. When I got this running about 8 months ago, I did replace them, but still nonetheless, they haven't had what I call their bug filter yet. So yeah, and I got the batteries in. I didn't need 3. I bought 3. I don't know if I can return that or not. If not, I suppose I'll be off of the Christmas bonus list. But she's ready to fire. See if it'll go. But no matter what with the vehicle, you got to have the key. I did lie, by the way. It is a C-12, so that makes me happy. So I'm going to try and fire it. I'm going to try and fire it without ether first, and then I'm going to try it with ether if it won't go. I know what you're thinking. Mike, why are you putting an ether in that semi? You know the engine's going to dynamite immediately the second any ether touches the inside of it. First of all, that's total hogwash. When you order winter packages for these trucks and diesel engines in North Dakota, it used to be, you don't see it much anymore, but the winter packages, they actually came with an ether injection button from the factory. So can ether destroy a diesel engine? Yeah, absolutely. If you give it 1 or 2 seconds, is it going to, explode immediately and send rods across the shop? No, it's not. Used it many, many times. And if you believe that ether is going to dynamite your engine immediately and destroy it, and it's going to be smoking and garbage after that, don't use it. I've used it many times. If you're going to start an engine on a cold day or it hasn't been ran for a while, you're a little bit worried about cranking power, you can push the clutch and it'll take all the weight of the synchros and the transmission off of the starter, and it's part of the clutch. It'll take that right off the starter and make its job a little bit easier. I personally don't want to touch anything in this truck, so I'm going to be kind of hanging out the door and using my foot on the clutch. But yeah, I'm not going to sit in this thing until I've had a few gallons of bleach ran through here. I'm just as surprised as you are. Got running on 100% total power right now. I'm gonna have to go get a garbage bag or a piece of cardboard, because check this out. I'm not sitting on that. There's not enough money in hell for me to sit on that. So you can see there, this ground here is pretty soft. Looks like something's hung up on this side. I wonder if both are hung up. I suppose they can't both be hung up. I think this one here is still hung up. So I wanted to get it out of this hole. I'll show you how I free up a brake. Something like this. Now you can see there, I got the tire chalked. This should act kind of as a chalk too. Got a sledgehammer. So what you're going to want to do is hit the actual drum itself with the sledgehammer. You want to make sure your parking brake is released. It looks to me like this bottom one's sticking. It looks like the top one's released. I'm going to give it a couple of good whacks. We'll see if it'll free up. Yeah, I heard that. You heard the pitch change when I hit it. Now we can see a little gap in the shoe. This one should be freed up. I'm going to give it another whack now that it's freed up. You can hear the difference in pitch of that drum. And then I'll replay some of the audio of when it was still stuck on. I want to see if these controls work. Sounds like that actually engaged the PTO. It's going right up. Cylinders go right in and out. What else could you ask for in a roll-off truck? It's got the blue button, and sometimes they're called a 15 speed and sometimes they're called an 8 low. I really don't know what the difference is, to be honest with you. I would call this a 15 speed, but there's not even a shift pattern anywhere in the truck. Sometimes there'll be a shift pattern. We'll tell you what it is. I don't see one. I'm calling it a 15. The forward is slower. Oh, I hate that kind of reverse stuff. I've been driving a 13 speed and 18 speed most of my life. So when I get in something like that has a reverse flip, yeah, it kind of throws me sometimes. This Caterpillar here has been sitting for 5 years. And right now driving it, there's no smoke. It's not missing. And it's still running on old diesel. We're gonna stop her short here and blow it out. I found an old check. No date on it. If anybody has a need or want for a used plastic fork or a log calendar book from 2016, hit me up on Instagram. And this bad boy could be yours. I know that this wheel seal here is bad. I can see that. See it all gummed up. This tire here is bad. It might not be that bad. It might just have to add air. And then maybe, a tire like that might hold air for a month. You can see this exhaust is rusted out. We're gonna be running this truck. Gotta fix it. I'll have a follow-up video to this showing how I get it all together and running and possibly of it working. Thanks for your time.